Recently, I've gotten a spate of comments complaining that I take too long to get to the point. So I'll say right off the bat, this is a video about a vintage smoke detector. So if you're not weird enough to be interested in such a thing, I suggest you find something more enjoyable to watch. It's the Emhart 911 fire alarm, and this very striking box art really catches your eye. It says the early warning smoke and fire detector. Especially on the side where the 911 looks more like it's splattered with blood than fire. And on this side, in addition to several building code certifications, it lists a US patent number. I looked it up and logically enough, it's a patent for a smoke detector. It lists the inventors as Norman J. Webb and David Bories, but then it lists the assignee as Norma Webb. So is it Norman or Norma? Either way, it was filed in 1978 and approved in 1981. On the back, it still insists on calling itself a fire alarm, even though most people would call it a smoke detector, and the industry prefers the term smoke alarm. But regardless of what you call it, it's battery operated and it uses the ionization method. And there they show the internal components. It has the radioactive ionization chamber, just like modern smoke detectors. But two things that really stand out and show its age are the fact that instead of the now common 9-volt battery, I believe even now some smoke detectors are running on AA batteries rather than 9-volt batteries, but here they use a 12.6-volt battery. I don't think they even make any more. And it also has this metal alarm horn instead of the now common piezo beeper. Here I found a Popular Science article from 1978 which said the current trend in smoke detectors was using 9-volt alkaline batteries and refers to them as a more recent design. So even by the late 1970s, that 12.6 battery was becoming old-fashioned. Emhart Industries called it a special long-life battery, but never explained exactly how long it was supposed to last. And when it did need to be replaced, it would definitely let you know. They said the internal alarm will sound a warning signal intermittently every minute for 7 days or until the battery is replaced. They also insisted that it should be mounted on the ceiling, not on a wall like I often see in hotel rooms. Now finally, let's open it up and see what's inside. We have this sheet dated February 1st, 1977 with an ad for the product. And it had a suggested list price of $48.95, or if you bought 3 or more, it would be only $29.50. Introductory special: purchase 3 or more smoke detectors and receive a number 2 see attached color demonstration free. Detector with display, $29.50. I wonder if this is from a store that was ordering these to be sold. That's interesting. Also mentions Zenith, Frigidaire, Armstrong, and Polaris. Reinhardt Brothers Company of Minneapolis and Fargo, North Dakota. So I wonder if this made the trip from the Midwest all the way here to New Jersey. And here is the fire alarm owner's manual. Be sure to read it thoroughly. Installation instructions and where to put it and how to install that battery. Specifications: operating temperature 32 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Horn not less than 85 decibels at 10 feet. And the ionization source was americium 241. And a certification from the California State Fire Marshal, dated 1975. And here's the registration card. Introduced by store display, newspaper, TV ad, or other. Going to Berlin, Connecticut. It says it's a warranty. How long was that warranty? Excluding batteries against defects in material workmanship for a period of 1 year after delivery. Well, I just got it delivered, so I wonder if this warranty is still good. So there it is. I think this is where the battery would go. It is in a plastic cabinet, but the ionization chamber is metal, as well as this grill over the horn. And if I turn it over, the battery is already installed. Wonder if it has any life left whatsoever. And under the insert, I found this. So I wonder if this was ever installed. It does have a little bit of dirt on the back, but not much. And let's try to open it up. There it is. A Duracell Mallory battery. It's a mercury battery. There's the warning about the Americium-241 radioactivity in there. Oh, the battery was not connected. That's interesting. And there's the very old-fashioned looking circuitry, including a adjustment there. Maybe that controls how loud it is. And there's that horn. So let me test this battery. Well, it's actually showing negative 0.96 volts. So obviously this battery is totally dead. There's a closer look at the battery. It's a Mallory Duracell Mercury battery. 304116 12.6 volt battery. Made in USA. Patent pending. By P.R. Mallory and Company Incorporated of Tarrytown, New York. I don't have a replacement for one of these because, like I said, I don't even know if they make these anymore. Certainly wouldn't be a mercury battery these days. But I do want to see if this has any signs of life. So first I'm going to just connect it to a 9-volt battery and see if that would at least give it the low battery chirp that it mentioned. So here we go. Okay, it is powered with the 9-volt battery. Let me just double check that with my meter. Make sure we're actually getting 9 volts here. Yep, 9.42 volts. And so far nothing. So I do have a 12-volt battery I can try instead. And then obviously I could try... Well, that was interesting. See if it happens again in 1 minute. Yes, it did. Here's a 12-volt gel cell battery. Let's just see if it makes any noise when I connect it. I put a piece of tape over the horn to quiet it. Now I'm going to leave it connected, see how long it makes that noise. Well, I got tired of waiting, so I don't know if it's falsely triggering permanently or what. Off camera, I left it connected to the battery for about a minute and it never shut up. And the manual doesn't mention anything about the alarm sounding when you first connect it to power. So I think this thing is simply stuck on due to the age of the circuitry and this radioactive ionization chamber. It's just no longer functional. Not that you would ever want to trust an alarm this old anyway to actually serve its intended purpose, but I would at least have liked to be able to test it by, lighting a match and blowing the smoke in there and see if it goes off. But now, the way this thing is, as soon as you connect power, it just beeps incessantly, so it's stuck on. But at least you get to hear what this horn sounds like. You don't hear smoke alarms that sound like this anymore. They just don't make them like this these days. Now I turned on my camera's microphone attenuator to give you a better idea of what it sounds like and how loud it is in relation to my voice. So that's the late 1970s Emhart 911 fire alarm, smoke detector, smoke alarm, whatever you want to call it. It's old, it uses a different battery and makes a different noise than modern smoke detectors. and that's why I find it interesting.